Welcome back to Trail Tales. In this video, we'll take you along with us on one of the most famous hikes in Ontario. About 6 hours drive north from Toronto, Killarney Provincial Park is a pristine wilderness with tremendous trails carefully carved out for hungry hikers like us. Our hike today is a 7.6 kilometer out and back trail, flowing through the forest, across the lake, with some scrambling up snowy rocks and through a crack in the cliffs before finally reaching the peak. Although it is more popular in the summer, this hike is just as beautiful in the winter. We started our hike on the first weekend of December. The air was as cold and crisp as the crunchy snow beneath our feet. Without a cloud in the sky, the sun was shining through the leafless treetops. I felt that the signpost warning at the start was a little over the top for what we actually experienced. While this is more than a walk in the woods and does involve some small sections of scrambling, the only challenge was really due to the ice. This was our first foray out of the city and into the now wintry woods this season, so the crunch underfoot was ever so satisfying. While there were several cars in the parking lot, we had the trail completely to ourselves for the first hour, sharing it only with birds and squirrels. Earlier that day, we had asked the park rangers about the conditions on the trail. They told us that the footbridge was partially submerged due to the weather. So we were warned and a little wary, and wet feet really would have ruined the hike. However, we made it across, warm and dry. I'm confident you will too. The trail is well marked throughout the forest, although it is worth noting the route change for maintenance and park preservation. Just make sure you're following the red markers. The arrow sticking out of the red circle indicates the direction of the next marker. There were a couple of times we had to resort to looking at the map and found that we'd followed a trail worn in by other hikers who'd also taken a wrong turn, so it is best to keep a downloaded map and GPS signal with you. If you don't have either, be prepared to retrace your steps if you really can't see the next marker. After about an hour, we found ourselves climbing up over bare rock, and the markers became a little harder to spot, but between the three of us we managed. After just a few minutes of climbing, we were above the forest we'd walked through, and we could see all the way to the distant horizon. Ontario is remarkably flat, with very little undulations in the terrain, so even the slightest elevation gain rewards you with extraordinarily large skies. The province of Ontario alone has more lakes than any other country in the world. A few of them you'll see on this hike. We would have to work for the view, however. The climbing had only just begun. On a summer's day, this upward scramble would have been a breeze. It's never so steep that you fear falling, and there are plenty of different ways to ascend the rocks. Today, however, required a little more scanning of the rocks and planning which way would afford the most grip. Are you ready for the crack?
No, we're ready. We're ready.
Let's go! So far, the hike had not been a challenge, but that was about to change. This section is difficult in places, but it is the most epic and rewarding. It looks more daunting than it really is.
That wasn't that bad. It looks scarier when you look at it in its whole, but when you're actually at the part that you're at, it's very easy.
We're not at the top yet.
There's
a big hole there, so watch out. The path most travelled is easily visible as it's the most polished. Many boot prints have compressed the snow into ice in some parts. The trail appears almost permanently shaded, so there's no opportunity for the snow to melt or the ice to thaw once it's formed. This is likely the last weekend of the winter before you would need crampons to complete this hike. With only a few slips and stumbles, we made it to the top as a team, helping each other find footholds along the way. The view awaiting for you speaks for itself, so I'll let it do the talking. Surprisingly enough, as we reached the summit, we were suddenly surrounded by other hikers, all of whom had been absent from the rest of the trail. From the top, you can see just how much snow had fallen on the trail, and you can watch others tackle the challenge both heading up and back down, from a nice high vantage point. It's not any less slippery on the descent, so take it slow. Graceful. we had been walking for close to 3 hours, we had not felt the time pass, so captivating is the natural beauty of Killarney. By the time we were back in the forested section, golden shafts of the setting sun shone through, casting long shadows on the snowy forest floor. Quite slippery.
Yeah, we're here just in time. Soon this is going to be not passable without crampons.
It is possible to do this without getting wet feet. Watch this. The final kilometre, despite being mostly flat, felt longer than it should have done. Hiking in the snow is a little more tiring than in the summer, and with the sun setting, the cold was beginning to bite. In total, we hiked 7.6 kilometres and gained 232 metres of elevation. The whole hike took us about 4 hours out and back, and we spent about 15 minutes of that at the summit, snacking, soaking up the sun, and savouring the stunning view. In the summer, this hike would be a lot easier, but even in winter, the sections with climbing are still not close to scary or even impassable, so I'm only rating this hike moderate. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like or subscribing to the channel, and feel free to leave your thoughts in a comment below. We'd love to hear from you.